Welcome back to another episode of Jacksonville Buzz's Buzzworthy Businesses. I'm Steve Strum. Sitting next to me, as always, Dave Permenter. How's it going, man?
Doing great, Steve. I don't know if
I don't know.
they can see us on this camera. There we go.
Hold on. If I do this, they can.
Yeah.
There you go. Hi. So, all right.
Doing great.
But we're not here to talk about you and me. And we apparently one of the two of us broke the camera, so they got to have an individual it now, or else we're in trouble.
We're here to talk about Stephen Murray.
We are. Stephen Murray from GrowFast Human Capital. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Steve.
It's
Great
good
to
to
have
see
you
you, man. So we were talking offset. Like, we'd go for an hour about the things that you do. What do you want to talk about with regards to your business, your journey from the big machine, the Fortune hundreds of companies in HR, now serving the medium-sized to small business market in the world of transition planning and being the best that they can?
Yeah, sure, Steve. So I spent about 25 years in Fortune companies, 5 different Fortune companies. And during that time, started to do acquisitions and divestitures at a smaller scale. And so that really interested me because we were buying the companies, integrating them into our larger company. And one of the last ones was very interesting, is a robotics company. And we absorbed them into the company I was with. And just to see the leadership team and talk with that owner and seeing their challenges as succession planning and such. So as I grew my career, you get further away from helping those owners. And I decided to make the switch about a year ago to get closer back to owners, get closer back to businesses, to really making a difference and increasing their value. And, I'm just passionate about that. So lower middle market, so 2 to about 30 million. Owners who are kind of maybe at that 3-year mark, but at the 2 million mark. And they're really, what do I do next? Do I go in the second stage of growth? Do I start thinking about how I'm going to exit and my options there? And so what I take a look and counsel them on is, first off, what are you worth, in the private market? Do you know how much your business is worth, and do you know how much it could be worth? And so go through that practice, and which is pretty fun to do. A lot of owners don't know how much their
I'm sure most of them are
worth.
quite surprised when they, one way or the other, when they find out the actual valuation.
Yes. And just the way it's calculated and what's included, not included. But then what I do is, after figuring out that estimated values, what can you do to increase your value? So I'm a certified exit planner and focus on how do you develop that value to get to the ultimate exit. Of course, that affects a lot of things. The owner may be surprised, and in their mind they have, this is how much I've always wanted to retire at. It's going to take this amount of money. But they don't know how much of that value is locked up in their business. So the idea is, work with them, figure out, here's different, ways you can increase your value. It may be, being able to work on your business and not in the business, trying to diversify your customers, trying to, specialize your organization so you don't have to spend time in each piece of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, we were talking a little bit offset about, there's two sides of that coin, right? So most guys in the mergers acquisition business, right, you focus on the dollar amount. But then there's this other side.
The human side.
The human side, because there's in a business succession, well, the concept would be that the business would succeed after the exit, or however that looks.
Would grow after the exit.
One would, the new owner might want to hope that happens. So, Dave, in your experience, what have you seen as far as when you've done stuff with business owners and you've seen exits and you've seen these type of things that happen? What are some of the things that you've seen in your side of the world that this Steve on the other side of me might be able to give us a little bit for our audience on how they deal with that?
Yeah, I would say I haven't been involved in an acquisition myself, but yeah, I've been witness to more than a few, I'll say, over the years. But the culture of a company, number one. I mean, culture in a small to medium-sized company is generally a trickle-down phenomena, and the organization takes on the culture of the owner. Well, if you're changing owners, is that culture going to be compatible?
Exactly.
Certainly one thing. And of course, the management structure, when you take over a company, you need to know that you have a management team that is capable of taking it to the next level. I would think that most people who buy a business want to see it grow, not be stagnant, of course.
Right.
So it needs to be a team that they feel confident can actually take the business to the next level. Those are a couple things that stand out for me.
Yeah, some great points, because the number one, it's only 80% of companies that go to market sell for the worth that the owner thought they would get. And there's many factors as to why that doesn't happen. One is you get to the final stage in the succession planning. Do you have leadership that is still there, is going to be able to pass over that value? And sometimes the owner needs to stay on afterwards, so they're held responsible about how the new company performs. But so I'd say succession planning is number one. And number two, the feedback you often get is the culture. And if you clearly can't define that going into the acquisition, it can wreck a deal, because you could have a large Fortune type of culture taking over a very small company. And I've heard that feedback and seen it as well, that owners it's just hard for them. That was their that was their company, their baby for all these years. And then
These things you're talking about, they'll never see, the buyer will never see in a set of financial statements.
Right, exactly.
I'm sure they need to have a lot of interviews with various members of the staff and management team to really feel it out.
Yep, spot on.
Well, as we take it away, I think the big thing here is, thank you for joining us, and for sure, kind of sharing some of this insight. For people that are watching this is not going to get any slower, because we talked a little bit offset about the silver tsunami, right? With 10, 11, 12,000 people a day leaving the workforce, people that are in my age, in the mid 40 range, there's not enough of us around. And now you've got these wonderful young men and women behind me that are 30 that were in grade school during the financial crisis. So there's a lot of work to be done. And, it sounds like you're kind of in that niche by which you're able to do that. So thank you so much for joining us today. Of course, over here to my left, Dave Permenter, can't do it without you. As much as I love you, and you're kind of cool too, we can't do without these guys, right? So guys, if you love the episode, if you know somebody who's like, I'm in that phase, whether it's first stage, second stage, exiting out of a company, we will make sure to put this Steven stuff on the dailynewsnetwork.com. Share the episode with the person that you might say, gosh, need to talk to that person, and always live with gratitude.